Hello everyone and welcome back to yet another video. I'm Scotty, and in my last video I got some comments about my clickbait titles, and I am here to say that I do hear you guys. I want to say before we start and get into the meat of the game I want to talk about today, which I'm really excited about because it's a game that I've grown to love dearly and have become addicted to, as the title says. I just want to say that I appreciate the comments that you guys are leaving. I've had some very nice, positive debates with people who have differences of opinion with me in the comments, and that isn't always the case. And look, there are comments that are less charitable and less friendly, and that's just going to happen. This is the internet, right? I'm not gonna pretend I don't know that. But what I would say is that a lot of you have been having really good, fruitful conversations with me in the comments, and that has been really nice to see. So I appreciate that, and those of you that I have had chats with, thank you very much. It's been really nice to just discuss games, because that's what I'm here to do. I'd like to reiterate something I had to clarify weirdly in the comments, is that I do not get paid for this YouTube channel at all. It is purely a passion project. It's just something I enjoy doing on the side. I work full time. I don't get paid by these games to review them. Lots of people claiming that somehow Avowed would have paid me. I don't know why they would pay somebody with 300 subscribers. Seems a bit like a waste of money to me. So yeah, I mean, look, if they want to pay me to play it, I'll take it, but I don't think that's quite on my radar anytime soon anyway. So just to clarify that before we start. Anyway, let's get into the actual meat of the video. Today I'm going to be talking about Balatro. And once again, I would like to say this probably looks like a clickbait title, but the title is actually 100% genuine. As I will get into in this video today, I think this game is actually specifically designed for me to become addicted to it. The game obviously is Balatro. I'm going to first discuss the gameplay itself and what the game itself is about. And then if you will indulge me, I will waffle then about why I enjoy this game and why I may well be addicted to it, despite only picking it up 2 days ago at the time of writing this very video. Let's get started then, and I will start with the summary of the gameplay, as I said, especially for those of you who may have never played the game before, because until 2 days ago I'd heard of the game and I'd seen what it was potentially about, but up until 2 days ago I didn't know what on earth was going on. So without further ado, let's get into it. So Balatro is effectively a card-based roguelike. You try to beat increasingly high scores, but are set different challenges and can acquire various items and buffs to increase and improve your score. You have up to 3 rounds per ante, which is like a level, with a small, big and boss blind that increases the score required each time. The boss blind also has some unique debuffs for your own hands, which can eliminate either entire suits or even just reduce the number of cards you have in your hand. Within each round, you'll set a target score to beat by forming poker hands with all the standard hands available, and also some that are impossible to get in normal poker, which can be achieved by upgrading or altering cards as you go through the game, or through runs. You can play hands and discard cards, but you only have a limited number of each, and the number can be determined or changed by a number of different elements within the game. Each hand you play has a chip value, which its most basic level is the value of the cards in the hand, and then a multiplier, which is at its most basic the difficulty of creating the hand. Both these elements can be buffed by the consumables and jokers I will cover further on in this explanation, and ultimately all of these factors combine to allow for crazy combos and high scores. There are actually quite a few layers to cover, so I'll try and keep it as simple as possible, but forgive me as it is a roguelike, and so these things get more and more complicated as you go deeper. Let's start with decks. You have varying decks of cards to choose from that each come with a different buff to start your run. This can be something like an additional discard or an additional hand to play each turn, or even starting you with more cash to buy the consumables that I will talk about in a moment. The main part of the game, I would say, is the jokers. These are the cards that ultimately change the game. They allow for these crazy combos, buffs, and or add chips to your deck. There are 150 jokers to unlock within the whole game, and you have to discover these by playing different runs. Each one alters a game uniquely in varying different ways, and they are what you really need to plan your run around, because they can make or break runs very, very easily. There are even some that that act like consumables, and after a certain number of hands will disappear, so you have to make sure you use the jokers you have wisely. Then you have things like vouchers. These are expensive but run altering buffs. They give more permanent changes and cannot be sold. They can add things like a store discount, a priority for certain cards to appear in the shop, or even do nothing. And then we have your consumable cards. There are varying types of them, so the first is tarot cards. Tarot cards have a variety of uses, but for the most part are used to upgrade cards in your deck, so they either have bonus multipliers, chip values, or even alter their suit, or give them no suit at all. They can also impact other consumables or jokers. There's lots of varying different things going on. Then you have planet cards. These boost the value of the multiplier and chip values of the specific hand type, for example, a straight or a flush. They will be upgraded, so those values are higher at the start. And it boosts that for the remainder of the run. The final consumable is spectral cards. These have a bit more of a wide range of impacts, but tend to be as good as they can be bad. They can, for example, convert all cards to a single random suit, or destroy a card to give more cards. They are kind of more risky tarot cards, but can also provide huge benefit within a run, so have a bit of jeopardy, but also reward, risk and reward. These consumables can be gained by opening booster packs, which give the player a choice. And to be honest, I also haven't covered tags, which are effectively buffs gained by skipping around. As you can see, the difficulty of the game really comes from needing to keep on top of as many of these factors as possible. And sometimes you need to rework your jokers and deck to be able to progress further and further. You technically win when you get to ante-8, sort of level 8, but you can then begin an endless mode to try and get higher and higher scores. At the time of writing, I have beaten the game with the two basic decks, the red deck, which gives you an extra discard, and the blue deck, which gives you an extra hand. At the time of recording this video, I have also beaten it with the yellow, and I think the black or green deck, one of the other two. So I've made further progress as I'm recording this video now. Each deck you then beat the game with unlocks another deck to try, as well as allowing you to play on harder and harder difficulty with the previous deck. So that really amps up the replayability of the game. That overall is a summary of all the elements of the game. So now I'll move on to just talk about why I've almost become addicted to this game in the last 2 weeks. Forgive me now because I'm going to waffle for a bit of time about what I like about this game and why I think it's hooked me and addicted me so badly. Or goodly. I don't know if addiction can be good, probably not. But let's start with replayability. It's the main thing I think that gives this game its strength. It's one of the reasons the game is so addictive in the first instance, is because variation from run to run is so wide. Like any roguelike really, it provides that easy replayability of a vaguely repetitive base, but with so many variable factors around that make it genuinely different each time you play the game. I love these variances, particularly from what each deck brings to a run, how you need to unlock further difficulty by beating the game. It really allows the player to be rewarded for their accomplishments, but also keeps them playing because it adds more variance and variance over time. It's also a way of not overwhelming the player too early by giving them loads of different options. You sort of have to earn your stripes and move on through levels to be able to play with harder and more challenging decks. The sheer number of jokers and then a sort of inner desire to, from a player's perspective, to collect them adds to this replayability and variance as well. The variance of the jokers and what they can do, and how this allows the player to lose a winning run but also save a losing one, is something I really appreciate about the game. You have to keep on top of what's going on in the game because any joker or action or blind can change how the game works for you going forward, and can, like I say, lose a winning run and win a losing run in the blink of an eye. It's one of those things where a run is never really over, and you might actually sometimes just stumble upon a solution to the problem you're having without actually really thinking about it. But likewise, you can often think your way out of a problem, and sometimes the run is just over because ultimately there is no way out. It's a game that ultimately is very easy to pick up and play. There are lots of rules, as I described above, but you can often just switch a part of your brain off and play through rounds. But it can also be a game in which, if the player chooses, where you think your way through different issues and things that you encounter. So ultimately it's got that really strong variance, but also an increasing difficulty that really means that you'll come back for more. One of the other things I've noted down for what I really love about the game is the style. I spoke in the intro about how it felt designed for me to be addicted. I say that because I am someone who enjoys playing poker, casually, and so already the game was kind of appealing because you've already got the poker hands and different things. It's also combined with this really attractive art style that draws you in and is quite easy on the eye. And I'm no artist, but the bright colours along with the sort of retro feel of the text and all the buttons creates a very appealing visual for the player, or at least it's certainly appealing to me. It does also make me wonder how it looks on the mobile platform. I've only been playing on Steam, so I imagine this game on the go would be quite an incredible thing to have. But obviously I've only played on my PC. I also really love the designs of the different consumables and jokers. The designers have put a lot of effort into being incredibly creative with the style, but also with the abilities of each joker. And these can be incredibly creative and also carnage. The final point I really had for my love of this game is to get to the crux of it. I think I'm enjoying this game ultimately. It's kind of a combination of everything I've talked about, which I've decided to describe as the challenge, in inverted commas, of the game. The game in itself is a bit of a contradiction. It is complex yet simple. It's based on simple mechanics but adds levels of complexity the deeper you go. It creates more and more of a challenge that further you go into the game, and the failure in this game doesn't discourage you because it feels so easy to pick it back up and go again. And each time you get such a variance of cards and options, it always allows you to play completely differently. But you can also remember how you played before and try to replicate that again. One part I like but haven't tried yet is the ability to play a seeded run, so you can switch seeds with your friends and play together, or try to succeed in runs where they failed. I'm also yet to unlock any of the actual challenge modes. I haven't tried much of the difficulty increases, as I'm trying to start early on in the game by trying to win with each deck first, but I'm already looking forward to playing with these increased challenges as I go. It may ultimately feel bad when you lose a run to potentially just bad luck, but ultimately that's just something that happens. I think this is something that appeals to me about poker too. It's a game I've played a lot in my life. It's about that skill of knowing what the best course of action is at each hand, but you also have to get lucky and try and read what other people are trying to do. The only difference in Balatro is that you don't really need to bluff. And I think in a way it scratches that poker itch with that combination of skill and luck. But it's obviously a single player. I say that as someone who has 100%ed the game Poker Night 2, which is poker against AI, including Claptrap. Just think about that for a moment. Claptrap. He literally doesn't shut up for 5 minutes at a game, and I have 100%ed it. And so when I say about the addiction for this game, I think you know where it's coming from. Anyway, where was I? Sorry. It scratches, this game, Balatro, scratches that appeal I have for poker, and it really gives that combination of luck and skill that I love in all games as much as in poker and obviously Balatro. Overall then, Balatro is clearly an addictive game. It comes from the easy replayability and the challenge of it, but also because it has that really appealing style. This combines with the fact that it has a very simple premise, but then layers of complexity that add and become more important as you go, and all of this works in its favour. Like I alluded to at the start, it feels very much like a game designed for me to be addicted. As a poker fan, I enjoy that blend of luck and skill that makes gameplay so varied and inconsistent, but also allows you to engage your brain and problem-solve solutions to keep runs alive. So have you played Balatro? Have you avoided the addiction, or are you feeling it the same as me? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. I literally, when this game obviously came out last year, I saw things about it. I deliberately avoided it because I knew as soon as I played it I would be addicted to it. And here we are. So the whole time I stopped myself from playing it was completely fruitless because I'm here now. As I said in the intro as well, please let me know your thoughts in the comments. I had really good chats with you guys in the comments of the last video. Obviously, if you can keep it respectful, that's ideal. I love to have really honest and open conversations with people, but I would rather everybody be nice to each other, and that definitely at times wasn't always the case in the last video. Obviously, I won't engage with it if it's, you know, outright mean and stuff like that, but it's just nice to be nice. I know it's the internet, so not everyone will be, and that's absolutely fine. But just if you want to actually have a discussion about something, just let me know in the comments, and I'll read through and reply when I can. I just really enjoy listening to people's different opinions, so it's really good fun. Anyway, with that said, I look forward to reading those comments. I hope you enjoyed the video today, and if you enjoyed, please leave a like, subscribe, as it really helps. Please give me your feedback on whether this title was clickbait or not. I'm trying to balance it because I also have to feed into the algorithm, but also I don't want to do you guys a disservice, and that was a comment made in the last video, so I appreciate that. So yeah, just let me know. Anyway, waffling on again. Thank you very much for watching. Take care of yourselves in this increasingly crazy world. It's only ever getting crazier every time I come back here. So take care of yourselves and peace out.